Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Skura, also known as Silence in Front, and today we'll be talking about my new stock list that I'll be playing soon, coming Pauper Nationals here in Poland, where I'll be defending my title as the current national champion. And I have been exploring Illvoi Galeblade, and let me tell you my thoughts on this deck list. Now, I'll break down all the card choices and the reasons, including the sideboard. And there is also a full sideboard guide for 30 matchups down below. You can look at it and all the matchups, hands to keep, in outs, everything is there. It's a pretty big piece of content. But okay, let's get to it. 8 ninjas, off one minds, that's all goes without saying. But let's address one main thing in the room. Or a couple of those, because the Fae thought process and the philosophy has been changing recently. First of all, I'm playing Faerie miscreant, right? Not playing Faerie miscreant is an idea that a lot of people have had and a lot of people have tried, and we really want to not play Faerie miscreant. But the truth is, and you've seen this in some builds of mine that were more like unfae, is that then spell starter becomes significantly worse for a couple of reasons. One, it's much rarer for you to have turn 1 drop, turn 2 counter 2 drop with spell starter, which comes up on the play especially. It's also much less likely spell starter actually counters a 2 drop in general over the course of the game, let alone 3 drop and higher. And so the potency of spell starter drops significantly when you drop Faerie miscreant. I myself played 2 sprites when I dropped miscreants. I think 8 1-drops is the lowest you can go. Lowest, if you want to support 4 spell starter sprites. And so, I'm keeping this. Miscreant is still the best choice for ours, and until Lorwyn comes out, it stays like that. But then we have the other choices. So, I'm a fan of Harrius Tricks, so of course he's in the list. Brineborrow Intruder is a mainstay as well. And Illvoi Galeblade has released. And so there are numerous choices here. Because the question is, how good is Ilvoy? And that's a question I myself am asking. And I'm still in the process of learning the play patterns it provides. And when you see my sideboarding, you will see that I don't trim it that often. Although with time, I'll be understanding more and more the dynamics it brings. Although my current state of mind is that, and in post-board games especially, holding up 1 mana Hydroblast or Steel Sabotage and a threat is particularly relevant, so I want to keep them in most games. And the number of 1-drops overall. I do not go below 14 ever, and I try to keep that rule for post-board as well. Having a total higher main deck allows me for the trimmage post-board. And most of my list, as you might not know, is 15, 16 1-drops. Now it's 17. Of course, it's at the expense of something else. So, for example, there would be 3 dispels here, for example. Or there could be, another counterspell or more snaps. But I landed on 2, 4, 3. With the following logic. Brineborrow Intruder is okay. It's very nice to have access to the first one, but you don't frequently want to draw multiples because there are some matchups that are not really that combat oriented. Like against Affinity, Jund, High Tide. Combat isn't that relevant, but there are also very combat oriented matchups where you really want Intruder against Sneaky Snacker, the Mirror Match, Red decks with Lava Dart because he doesn't die to it. So 3 is the number I went for. Highest Tricks, still awesome. Because of Ilvoy, there is not much space, but I really want to I want to be able to draw 1 most games, mid-game especially. And so 2 Tricks it is. And then full 4 Ilvoys here. Full 4. Now, it comes out to 7 1-drop flash threats plus 4 sprites. And it also comes out to, let's see how many total flash cards. It's 20 main deck. 20 main deck. That's a third of the entire deck. And so this new idea, or this approach, hedges and walks into this more flash game. And just playing flash itself isn't beneficial yet. Like, it's not as important. It's not like, playing end step or playing main phase. It doesn't have to be a big difference. It can, but doesn't have to be. But Ilvoy has shown me a couple of more other things. For example, so we've got the classic, hold up 1 mana, it's either counter or an Ilvoy. But let's say on turn 4, you deploy it end step. Opponent's holding up removal, and you're like, my turn? Okay. Attack? Anything? No. Okay. Damage, pass. And it has this kind of quasi-protection because nobody wants to kill it, and you can always pop it in response. I was of the opinion that the sacrifice ability would basically be flavor text. It would be irrelevant. Because if it's relevant, maybe that's not a good position to be in. I was wrong. It comes up a lot. Actually a lot. And especially against red decks, which have historically, with the Lava Dart, been kind of tough. But here, we've got a couple of creatures with 2 toughness. We also have Ilvoys that allow us to go, okay, boop, Ilvoy, kill it. I can draw a card. And these games will come down to resources, so that's important. Moreover, it allows you to, for example, go attack, ninja it back, and pass without recommitting to the whole battlefield, right? So we can go turn 1 Ilvoy, turn 2 Hacker, pass, instead of decide to whether the redeploy creature and pass, or pass holding up, let's say, Dispel, but not redeploying a creature. Here you couldn't both. So it kind of goes into the play pattern of hold up creature or counterspell, but in those very specific patterns, not just abstract patterns, very specific patterns of, again, turn 1, turn 2 Hacker. It's insane, right? It gives us so much flexibility against, for example, postboard and the festivities or something. And also, in some late games, when you're sandbagging creatures because you're waiting for a good opening, sometimes you can just go end step, Intruder, Galeblade, untap, off 1 mind, bam. So it is that flexibility that I have found actually in practice relevant. Coming back to some other choices, Dispel, card you've seen in my deck lists forever, and I haven't changed my opinion on it. I still think that Force Spike and Spell Pierce are bad because they don't counter anything, and your idea, basically what you have to do is counter anything you can because it will not do anything soon, and I don't want that. I want to be able to counter what I want to counter, not what I get to counter. And Force Spike and Spell Pierce are exactly that. It's like, ooh, a target, I have to use it. It's substantially different from Terror decks. Because in Terror decks, if you just make them tap out, it's a spell in the graveyard. You've got ways to shuffle it away. Also, Terror is fundamentally different because you pass the turn and you hold up counter magic. End setup. While here you typically have to choose. It has changed with Ilvoy, so that aspect is a bit different, but the previous still apply. And this deck doesn't kill fast. Those Spell Pierces and Force Spikes will be dead. And so again, you have to just play it on the first thing you can, and I don't want that. And I want to be able to dispel all the deadly dispute effects. I want to dispel any Pulse of Morasses, cast downs, ghostly flickers, that type of jazz. So yeah, dispel is still good. 3 Snap. Snap is a kind of controversial card. It used to be a 4-off, then I remember I wrote my piece about not playing it at all, and it kind of changed the paradigm, and now people are actually considering playing not 4, but 3, but 2, or 0. And so I'm currently on 3. I'm happy to have it game 1, but I'm also very liberal in cutting it for game 2 and 3. I know some people say that if you cut it very often, maybe it shouldn't be in your deck, but then I say maybe it's just a good game 1 card, because it's kind of like it sometimes will have the bind the monster type of utility, but it's just like very broad, which is what you want for game 1. But then for game 2, you can narrow it down, right? So cut it against Chrysalis, and put bind in, right? But sometimes snap is just, or against Kuldo or against Pinger. It's fine game 1 against Kessig, but then it changes into Hydroblast, right? So it's basically an all-encompassing card, kind of a catch-all removal, and then you swap it out for something better when you know what you should have in your deck. And when it comes to sideboard, also probably not many surprises here. 4 bind the monster. A package of 6 cards against red decks. I landed on 5 blast plus intruder. I could see 4 plus 2. I could see just 6. Oh, there could be some options. Currently, I'm on this split. I want this additional intruder because an additional blast is better against some stuff, like Kessig, worse against Lava Dart specifically, but also intruder comes in against other matchups as well, like the mirror match. So it changes their math a little bit. So I'm going for 5-1. For Steel Sabotage, I'm still a huge fan. I'm still a huge fan of just bouncing bridges against Junt and Affinity. Still a huge fan. Annul, I know the fans of Annul, but again, if your local meta has Bogles, play Annul. But otherwise, again, I'm expecting a broad meta overall with the emphasis on the top tier decks. I like Steel Sabotage. And a third Dispel for actually very similar matchups, right? All the Deadly Dispute effect matchups, Pyroblasts, Breath Weapons, and stuff like that. So this is my list. This is the, I think, 75 I will be playing in the Polish Nationals. It will surely evolve as I'm continuously evaluating the strength of Illvoi Galeblade. I'm at 4, so I can only go down. And if I go down, because that's another question, what would I add? And this could be, for example, a 4th Intruder or a 3rd Strix. These were the main cards I considered in this slot. I could go down to 2 Ilvoy, then I'll probably go 4th Intruder, 3rd Strix. And also another slot is a potential 3rd cheap Counterspell, which in my case would probably be Dispel. So yeah, this is the list. As I said, you have a full guide in the description below. You can also watch all of my videos on YouTube, which have a ton of free knowledge for Fae. And also I have a Discord where we've got all the Fae gamers there, so you can ask any questions you might have. So yeah, this is the list. Guide's ready. Ilvoy is probably here to stay. And I'm really happy we just got a new toy. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. And as always, please remember to hold my hand and let's pass the turn together. And I will see you next time. Cheers.